Hi there, Katherine. Let's take a look at this new set of essays. Here we go. This is the one about weddings. Do the advantages of spending a lot of money outweigh the disadvantages? Here's what you said. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated, get rid of would, have debated the expenditure of holding a wedding, which is considered to be expensive. Personally, I think drawbacks outweigh the merits. Get rid of this. This essay will argue both sides and will provide my opinions. Okay. I don't like this will provide my opinions. You told me your opinion. So, supported with arguments and evidence. You could have said that instead. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that weddings are becoming fancier nowadays, especially in developed countries. The central reason behind that is twofold. Firstly, the luxurious wedding becomes a trend, allowing the couple to have a memorable wedding in their life. Okay, what does that mean? How is that a benefit? It's a reason, but how is it a benefit? Okay? Secondly, the expectation from friends and families that brings pressures for... Secondly, there is expectation from friends and family that brings pressure for couples to share this special event, singular, in their lives. For example, recent empirical research by the UK government demonstrated that 90% of couples spent more than $1 million on their wedding because they think that a fascinating wedding can share joy and wealth to others. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that a lavish wedding can satisfy people's desire. However, the downside cannot be neglected. Okay, fair enough, that's fine. On the other hand, although there is a case for the good part of costly weddings, I don't like this, the good part of costly weddings. It doesn't feel very precise. So let's try it again. On the other hand, although there is a case for the benefits of costly weddings, the impact of the financial burden cannot be overstated. This is largely because the money can lead to quarrels. For example, an extensive study from Oxford University, capital U, showed that 70% of couples in Britain are facing financial problems after they spent too much money on the wedding. Consistent with this line of thinking is that, no comma, if couples are considering raising a child, the education fee and life cost of living will be a serious issue. Thus, it is possible to have social problems in the future. To conclude from the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that people should not spend, with a D, money on luxurious weddings. S, it is predicted social problems will increasingly grow in importance. Okay, let's see. So, here's what I want to talk about. It was fine, Katherine. I mean, it was nicely done. There's some areas that were a little awkward, but nothing too serious. It asks you for benefits, and it asks you for disadvantages. Let's see what your benefits were. You said a firstly here, you said a secondly here, but in the end, it seems like it's just satisfying people's desire to have a memorable wedding, okay, and that they feel social pressure. So this basically satisfies the social pressure. That part I understood. But let's talk about the negatives, the drawbacks. How many drawbacks did you really give? You essentially gave one. You said that it leads to quarrels. You said that there are financial problems. And that's basically it. Like, I didn't see a second disadvantage. And so it feels a little underdeveloped. It specifically asks for, where is it? Benefits, disadvantages. So you needed to come up with at least two of each, okay? That's something I want you to think about. Think about some of those expressions that were a little awkward. And other than that, it was fine. Okay, let's take a look at your task one. All right, so let's go to this pie chart. School preferences, school subject preferences. Here we go. The pie charts show the percentage of the most popular courses in schools in New South Wales in a 3-year period. Overall, the largest proportion can be found in geography, whereas the least popular subject was chemistry. By 2017, biology witnessed the highest percentage, while chemistry was not popular anymore. All right, fine. In 2014, the largest proportion can be found in geography, reaching 27.7, followed by maths, taking up 27.3. That's a little awkward, Katherine. We don't say taking up. Accounting for, you could have said. History and IT shared the similar figures at 1.2. The least favorable field was chemistry, with only 1%. Okay, so far you've covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics out of the 8, okay? On the other hand, in 2017, most of the subjects underwent some change, get rid of that D, except history. which was significantly increased from 1.2 to 19.4 from 2014 to 2017. That's a little strange. It didn't undergo some change. It underwent a huge change, okay? So maybe you don't mean some, maybe you mean minor changes. And then this would make sense to say except for history. The percentage of biology almost doubled, not passive but active, almost doubled from this to this. Furthermore, IT rose, get rid of the D, by 0.2, and physics increased from 19.4 to 21.2 from, not in, from the year 2014 to 2017. Chemistry did not show any figures in 2017. Okay, let's take a look at it again. Okay, Catherine, the biggest problem for me with this task 1 is that you're missing some of the topics. Okay, let me show you what I mean. There were 8 subjects in 2014. There were 7 in 7 in 2017. I'm very glad that you highlighted this change with chemistry, as it's really important. But you actually missed at least one of the topics, one of the classes. You missed PE. You didn't even mention it as a name. And so if I were going to try to draw this just based on your description, I couldn't. I would have an absolutely inaccurate image of this. And that's something I want you to think about. You need to include all of these categories. All these categories are considered your key information. So if you leave one category out, even just its name, you're missing key information. So, I mean, it was only 8 things that you had to mention, so you should have at least mentioned them by name, even just once. Let's see. I thought that you mentioned everything else. I kind of felt like, let me see, you talked about math. You talked about math here, but then you didn't talk about it. What happened to math in 2017? 12.2. Where was it in? All right, so then basically I don't understand this. You said that most of the subjects underwent some changes except history. So I didn't understand that. Pretty much a lot of them changed, and that would have been a nice way to do this. So what you could have done is you could have organized this a little differently. You could have written in your first paragraph which ones were, say, one number in 2014, and then they increased in 2017. All right, and you could have put that in one paragraph. And then in the next paragraph, you could have taken the ones that from 2014 to 2017 decreased. All right, and then depending on which paragraph was shorter, you would have added the ones that more or less stayed the same. All right, that's a good way to do this because I don't really get the way you've organized this. Okay, even here, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you only mentioned 5 of the topics. There were another 3 that you didn't even mention my name. You mentioned them by name a little later, but I don't really have an understanding of what this looks like. If I didn't have this in front of me, I wouldn't be able to get a good image in my head of what you're actually looking at. So I want you to think about that a little bit and how you can organize your answers. I just gave you one suggestion on how you could have organized it in order to provide the information necessary for somebody to be able to kind of imagine this. All right? That, in the end, is the ultimate goal, to be able to describe it in such a way that there's not too much detail, but that the person can actually kind of draw it from your description. Okay, and like I said, I wasn't really crazy about this sentence because it seems inaccurate, so I would have liked you to rephrase this as well. Go ahead and correct these. Let's see what you do with your corrections, and let's also see another set of essays, okay? Good luck.